All right, good morning, guys, and welcome to our latest video update from Game Theory. We're very excited to go through this one. We're going to be going over all of the details of our migration plan over to Avalanche and the launch of the version 2 of Game Theory. So it's very exciting. So just get right into it. So we now officially have a launch date. So, like we were saying before, there's two stages to the launch. So there's a 48-hour window where there'll be a migration period. Then there'll be a 24-hour gap in between, and then there'll be the launch. So the migration period is going to be starting next week on June the 9th, and it's going to be at 4 a.m. UTC. So that'll be Wednesday night Pacific time. That's Thursday morning in terms of UTC in a lot of time zones. So the migration period is going to start on June 9th at 4 a.m. UTC time. That window is going to last for 48 hours, so it should give plenty of time for everybody to migrate their tokens over. That window will close after 48 hours, so that will be on June 11th at 4 a.m. UTC. That window will close. And then on June 12th at 12 p.m. UTC, so just over 24 hours after that, that is when we are going to be launching version 2 on Avalanche. So again, on June 9th at 4 a.m. UTC, that's when the migration window is going to start. That's going to stay open for 48 hours. And then on June 12th at 12 p.m. UTC is when the launch is going to happen. In terms of the steps of the migration window and how that's going to work. So step one is to, if you haven't already, is to withdraw your liquidity pool tokens from the farms, withdraw your HODL tokens from the farms, withdraw your theory tokens if you have them from Theoretics, and also make sure you got your master tokens as well. So withdraw any tokens you have in any of our farms. Take those tokens. There's going to be a page on the website that is the migration page. Take those tokens over to the migration page. There'll just be a little window that will allow you to select how many tokens you have, put those into that migration window, and you'll give those tokens into the smart contract. And then once you've given the tokens into the smart contract, there'll be a transaction for each of the different tokens. So if you have, game die liquidity pool, whoever's joined, can you mute yourselves, please? If you go into the game die liquidity pool tokens, theory die liquidity pool tokens, theory, HODL, can you mute yourselves, please? I think that's you, Chan. Thanks. Yes, so if you whatever tokens you have, whether it's the game die liquidity pool tokens, whether it's the theory die liquidity pool tokens, whether it's HODL, whether it's master, whether it's single game, whether it's single theory, whatever tokens you have, you put them into the migration window, and the smart contract will take those tokens. Once you've submitted all of your tokens, that's your part done. You don't have to do anything else. When the launch is happening, you will then just get airdropped the Avalanche version of those tokens, commensurate to whatever tokens you have. So whatever tokens you have, whether it's the two liquidity pool tokens, whether it's single game, single theory, HODL, or master, whatever tokens you have, if it's liquidity pool tokens, you're then going to get back game USDC liquidity pool tokens on Avalanche. If it's single tokens, whether it's game, theory, HODL, or master, you're going to get single game tokens back. So that's how the migration period is going to work. So again, just to recap, so on June 9th at 4 a.m. UTC is when the 48-hour migration window is going to start. So when that migration window is open, withdraw all your tokens from any farms you have, go over to the migration page onto the website, go into the smart contract, deposit all the tokens that you have into the smart contract. And then on June 12th at 12 p.m. UTC, when the launch happens, you will then get airdropped the new tokens. If you submitted liquidity pool tokens, you're going to get game USDC liquidity pool tokens on Avalanche. If you submitted single tokens, then you're going to get just single game tokens on Avalanche. So that is the launch date, and that is the steps of the migration window. It's very simple. All you got to do is just submit the tokens within those 48-hour windows, and then you'll get airdropped those new tokens. We also have a countdown timer, so as soon as this video is done, we're going to be posting those in the announcement, in the general chat. We're going to pin them, so if at any time someone has any questions, you can just direct them straight to the timer. They can see exactly when the migration window is going to start, when it's going to end, and when the launch is going to happen, and it'll show it for you in your own time zone as well. So in terms of the roadmap itself, the updated roadmap, we can have a look at it right here. So this is our updated roadmap over the next 4 months. So, right, so as you can see for June, so we have the launch of the game token on Avalanche. We have the launch of our decentralized exchange. We've got Ultigene optimization, so it's going to be making some edits to it on the back end to make it very gas efficient. The master token is going to be launching bonding and no animals harmed. So I'm going to go through them all step by step. So obviously the new game token launching on Avalanche. So the differences with the new game token, like we are going to be having a fixed supply initially. So that fixed supply, we're not going to be able to tell you exactly what that number is because it's going to be dependent on how many tokens get handed in terms of the migration. But whatever tokens get handed in on the migration, we're then going to have another 110 to 115% on tokens extra that we're going to print on top of that. And then that is going to be the total supply starting off for us. The treasury or the smart contract is going to have the ability to print more tokens, but it's not something that is automatically set. It's something that's under a time lock. And so if we have a governance vote and we decide that we want to increase the supply as a community for any reason, we have that option, but the supply will be set for at least the short to medium term on whatever it is on day one when we launch. In terms of decentralized exchange, so this is going to be make a huge difference for us. So with the game token having a fixed supply, which is going to allow us to have a very controlled amount of inflation that's coming into the system, to mean that we don't have millions and millions and millions of tokens just constantly going in and having to fight against that inflation that we had with the algorithmic stablecoin. With a decentralized exchange, it means that we are benefiting from our trading fees. So it means that every single buy and sell that is made of the game token is going to be contributing to the treasury, and it's going to be contributing to buying and burning game tokens. So as we grow and as we get more popular, it just means that's more and more revenue that's being built that's going into the treasury. As well as that, we're going to be able to host other projects on our deck. So if we get any projects that join our decentralized exchange, that's going to be another source of revenue that's going into the treasury. And the benefit for them is that we're going to revenue share with them. So they're going to get a portion of those fees that are going to go towards buying and burning their tokens. So we think that long term, over time, as we add more and more projects onto our decentralized exchange, that's another revenue stream that's independent of all of our games. Having Ultigene optimized just means that, again, that's less money that is costing the project on the back end. It just means it's an easier user experience for the game players. With the master token launch, so the way that master is going to be working now, as opposed to in version 1, where you would exchange theory tokens over into master tokens, in version 2, it's going to be game USDC liquidity pool tokens that you will lock up in order to get those master tokens. So why we feel like this is a really impactful change for us is that one of the big issues we were having with the algorithmic stablecoin is that our liquidity was split between the game DAI liquidity pool, the theory DAI liquidity pool, and single holding theory in theoretics. So it means that even when we hit our all-time high at 1.5 million total value locked, more than half of that wasn't actually contributing to liquidity. And then of that half that was liquidity, it was split between two different tokens. So I think the most we ever got to with game was 550,000 in liquidity. And I think with theory, it was just under 300,000 in liquidity. Whereas now we have having the two different liquidity pools, which is the game USDC and game AVAX, but just having that one single token means that all of the liquidity that's in the protocol is all going to be going towards one token. So when we get back to where we were before and go past it, we have 1.5 million in total value locked. That means that all 1.5 million of that would be in liquidity, which means it would be in so much more of a healthy position instead of it being split and fragmented between lots of different tokens. So in order to get master tokens, you create liquidity pool tokens with game USDC, and then you lock up those game USDC liquidity pool tokens to get master tokens in return. You can lock them up from anything between 30 days and 4 years. The longer you lock those tokens up for, the more you get in terms of revenue sharing. So that's something that we're really excited about too, that our governance holders are still going to be contributing to liquidity as opposed to having that split up. We're also going to be launching bonding. So for us, that's going to be something that's really mutually beneficial to our investors and to the protocol. So from the investors' perspective, by bonding, instead of going onto the DEX and exchanging USDC or AVAX to the DEX to get game tokens, they can go to the protocol and they can exchange USDC directly for game tokens, but at a discount of what they would get it on the DEX. in return for getting the discount of it, the tokens will be vested to them over a period of time. It's either going to be 5 days or 7 days, and so they're going to get what I say if they put $1,000 of bonds, then they would get that in-game tokens vested to them linearly over either 5 or 7 days. The benefit to the protocol is that means that is a stable coin that's going directly into the treasury. What we're also going to do is that there's going to be a weekly limit of how much bonds are available to be minted, and the discount is not going to be crazy because we don't want to dilute our investors and have that was an issue that a lot of the Olympus style protocols had with their bonding, is that they had crazy discounts and they had basically unlimited bonds, and so they end up diluting their investors. So for us, we're only going to have a small allocation of bonds every single week, but it means that the treasury is going to be constantly getting an influx of stable coins, meaning that we're not going to need to sell our own tokens in order to get funds, and it means that our investors can be able to get access to slightly cheaper game tokens. It benefits the treasury, so it's a win-win for both, but that's going to be capped every single week, so there's only going to be so much bonds available, so whoever gets there first, they're going to get to take advantage of that discount, and it means the treasury has that constant influx of stable coins, which is going to allow us to pay for marketing and development expenses and everything else that we're doing. And then next, for anyone who hasn't seen, so our second game that we're releasing officially has a title, which is No Animals Harmed. So that's going to be our projectile launch game as well. We have a ton of really cool things happening on in the background. The documents have been updated for everything apart from No Animals Harmed, because we're just finalizing the balance between the free-to-play aspect and the play-to-earn aspect. So once that's all been completed, that's going to be updated in the documents page too. So you're going to see that over the next couple of days. But that is everything that we have going on in June. So you can see that's going to be a lot going on there. Just to recap, so obviously the game token launching on Avalanche, we've got our decentralized exchange, we got Altagene, we got our master tokens, which you will get with liquidity pool tokens. You have bonding feature, and then we're going to be releasing No Animals Harmed hopefully by the end of the month. Moving on into July, we're then going to be launching our Nft Marketplace and our Generation 2 NFTs. Those are going to be coming off the back of No Animals Harmed. So all the different gameplay aspects, the Nft Marketplace is going to be very useful because the Generation 0 and Generation 1 NFTs are going to get a lot of utility in No Animals Harmed. And then they get the boost you get from the liquidity pools as well as the game benefits. The Generation 2 NFTs are going to be cheaper than the Gen 0 and Gen 1 NFTs were, and they're going to have exclusively game benefits, but no liquidity pool or investment boost benefits. So we're going to release in the NFT marketplace so people can trade their Gen 0 and Gen 1 NFTs, and people are going to be able to mint and then trade the Gen 2 NFTs as well. We're then going to be releasing the lottery, so we're excited about that. That's actually been built for a while, so that's going to be coming after the game. And then the next game that we are building and releasing after No Animals Harmed is poker. So we're very excited about us building and releasing Texas Hold'em. We think that's going to be a really fun game to play for our community as well. And kind of, there's not really going to be a lot of tweaks to the game itself, but you're now going to have the cryptocurrency ability to win real money as opposed to it just being, playing online poker. But it's either for like fun on a website like Zynga or actually playing on a, Full Tilt or something like that. You have the crypto aspect of it instead of the fiat aspect of it. Moving on into August, so Celestial, that is the name of our RPG game. We're really excited about that. This is going to be the flagship game of the game theory ecosystem. So it's going to be a turn-based RPG game where you're going to be battling, moving around a world map. You can go into the documents to select more information about that, but it's going to be a very expansive game, and it's going to be something that it's the initial version that gets released is just going to be built and expanded over time to get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And the big thing that we're doing is we're going to be incorporating and merging Celestial and Brutal Network are all going to become one. So Brutal Network is going to be built within the Celestial world. So we're still going to have the turn-based RPG game, but then the battle game of Brutal Network is going to be within the Celestial game, and that's what's going to be coming up in version 2 and further on, which is coming out in September. We're also going to be getting an audit done in August too, so we wanted to wait until we had No Animals Harmed, poker, the lottery, the NFT marketplace, Celestial. We wanted to get all of that released first, so then when we were getting an audit, we could get that audit done on all of the features basically in like the first run of the roadmap before then, versus getting an audit done, say, in the first couple of weeks, and then we still release a whole bunch of new features that we need to get audited anyway. After the Celestial and the Audit, we're also going to be releasing, it's yet to be determined exactly what the games are. We're going to be getting feedback from our community to know. So while Celestial is being built and be constantly being improved on, which is like our core development team is going to work on, we're also going to have other developers who are going to be working on slightly smaller games, more like Gene and Poker. So those are going to be get voted. We're going to get suggestions from the community. They're going to put them out to like vote or get some crowdsourcing on them. And then the games that people are most excited to see, those are the ones that we're going to be building in August and in September. So that's it, guys. So that is our roadmap over the next 4 months. As you can see, we have a lot of exciting things on the roadmap. Most of this is things that we had already had planned and kind of announced that we were doing a few months ago. Obviously, the big pivot is editing the tokenomics and moving on to the Avalanche network. We really feel that the fundamentals and the foundations of what we're going to have with the new game token, with having the one token that all liquidity is flowing to, with having a very manageable maximum supply and a very manageable APR that's being paid out into the farms, having our own decks where we're benefiting from the trading fees, having a sales tax that's going to help to protect the protocol and to protect the token, and having the bonding system. All of these features that we didn't have in version 1 are really going to help to create an incredibly strong foundation to allow us to build our gaming ecosystem on top of that, because we felt that before that we were fighting against our foundations as opposed to supporting us, whereas we feel very strongly that these are going to give us all the foundations that we need to have the platform to really build some very fun, very exciting games. Like, we're really excited about No Animals Harm. We feel like the free-to-play elements merge with abilities to earn money and being able to spend money in the game and the ecosystem we're building there, we think is going to be really popular. We think lottery is going to be very popular. We think poker is going to be very popular. But we think Celestial specifically, we feel like that's really going to be the game changer, this thing that's really different to other games that are out there. There have been some very successful games, especially like on Avalanche. You've got DeFi Kingdoms over there. You've got Axie Infinity. You've got Illuvian. Some very successful games that one of the criticisms from their own community has been like the actual games themselves haven't been that fun to play, but they've had very compelling tokenomics and ability of people to make money through those games, so they're able to attract a lot of users. So we feel like building a game that's incredibly fun, incredibly compelling, as well as having the ability to make money from it, and merging those two things, we have an opportunity to make something that gets incredibly popular and really can be the thing that takes game theory from being successful to being incredibly successful. So that is our roadmap there, guys. So let us see if we have any questions.